Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stephenson, the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, where our goal is simple yet profound, and it's to help you live your best audacious life ever. It's always a pleasure to be here sharing insights and inspiration that can empower you to step boldly into your potential. I genuinely appreciate you for spending time out of your day with us, and I hope you find that the conversations we have here are both enriching and transformative. Now, think of curiosity as the compass guiding us through the vast ocean of knowledge. Just as a sailor relies on their compass to navigate uncharted waters, students can rely on their curiosity to explore new concepts, challenge assumptions, and chart their own learning journeys. When curiosity is ignited, it opens up the door to engagement, making the learning experience not just informative, but also exhilarating. Building a personal connection with students is akin to providing them with a sturdy ship, allowing them to navigate those waters with confidence. And as they venture forth, embracing mistakes become their wind, propelling them forward, reminding them that every misstep is a lesson learned on the path to mastery. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Renes Lophenol. He's an educator with over 20 years of experience in the field. Renes has lived through and taught in 3 different distinct education systems, Haitian, French, and English, and his diverse background has shaped his unique teaching philosophy, emphasizing curiosity, creativity, and the importance of connecting with students on a personal level. Renes is passionate about fostering a love for learning and helping students embrace their mistakes as essential stepping stones in their educational journey. Renes's insights are incredibly relevant in our discussion today as we explore the themes of curiosity and learning, building connections with students, and embracing mistakes. His extensive experience and passion for teaching provide a rich backdrop for understanding how these elements contribute to effective education. So now that we've got the table set and we're ready to go, let's turn to our conversation with Renes. Enjoy. Hey, Renes, thank you for joining me here today on the Audacious Living Podcast. I appreciate you for making the time to be here.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, Audley. Thank you for inviting me and having me with you today.
Yeah, no, it's great that we're able to connect. We encourage individuals on this podcast to live their best audacious life, and I know that you have a deep passion and a commitment and a love for learning, and I think learning is a key aspect of living and of life, because that's how you progress, develop, and move forward. And so maybe as a starting point, I can get you to because you're an educator as well, and you've got some unique perspectives from your 20 plus years in the education field. And so maybe as a starting point, I get you to introduce yourself to our audience and talk about the work that you've done and the point that up until the point that you're at now.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Renes Lophenol. I've been a teacher for the last 20 years plus 22 years. And I grew up in Haiti, partly in Haiti and then in Paris, France. And I'm today in England, UK, teaching here. So I have gone through 3 different education systems. And being a teacher today, I have a good idea of what worked best for me, and I've been picking the best from each systems to forge my own teaching style and resources and everything to get the best out of my students as possible.
Gotcha. Okay. And so, and where did your love of learning come from?
Oh, the love of learning come from deep inside. I am a curious person, but not curious in the negative sense that I want to get into people's business. No,
Sure.
Curious as in I want to know how things work and how to do things, especially if it's something that people around me are finding difficult, not to say impossible to do. So for me, I always think there is a way. I might not know that way, but I
Sure.
know there is a way. Um, and that everything comes from starts with an idea. So the fact that I can think that there is a way, to me,
Mhm.
I'm convinced there is a way.
Got you. Got you.
So
Got you.
I love learning and to expand my who I am as a person. And I transpire this in the classroom, and my students see that
Right.
I am not afraid of saying I don't know something if I don't. I'm not afraid of learning from them
Right.
because there are things they know I don't know. They have their own hobbies, their own interest that me personally, I have no idea how to do them, how they work, etc. And because I'm curious to find out how it works, that I would say that make them that gives them more interest in what I do as well, and therefore create that connection that you need as a teacher to be able
Sure.
to work well efficiently with your students.
How
So,
important is that connection? You mentioned that. How important is that connection in the learning?
oh, oddly, without the connection, there's nothing. There's nothing you can do. You cannot teach, especially children. You cannot teach any children without, first of all, connect with them on some human level. Um, so my technique or my approach when I have a brand new class, I always get to know the students in the first 10, 15 minutes. Um, and I learn the names and introduce myself properly. And I ask them, and I give them the opportunity to ask me up to 10 questions.
Okay.
Any questions. So obviously, the first ones, they are hesitating. What kind of question can we ask? And the first question tend to be, can you guess? How old are you? So, and then everyone else, you could ask that. You could ask that. But I don't make a fuss. I just say my age. And then, oh, he said his age, which usually teachers would not do.
Right.
Okay. And then a second question, have you got children? Are you married? Are you this? Are you that? And I answer, and
Sure.
they open up. They started
Sure.
opening up, and that's how the
Connection.
connection creates.
Sure. Sure.
Because yeah,
Yeah, I guess you're
so
you're 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 more prone to want to learn from someone if you have that connection or know something about
yeah,
them or understand them better. That's what I'm hearing from you.
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you teach and what are the age groups that you teach?
I teach students age 11 years old to 18.
Okay.
So up to like to the end of college of high school.
And
And
it's
yeah.
certainly a good age. You mentioned early curious. That's a very good age that they're very curious
Oh
and
yes,
understand the world. How
absolutely.
important is curiosity in the learning process?
Curiosity is the key to learning. That's as I said earlier, it's because I am a curious person that I always want to learn and that I am a perpetual learner. Um, I, without boasting, there are a lot of things that I can do that the everyday person doesn't, not because they can't, but because they are not curious enough to try and experiment them. For
Mhm.
example, all the languages that I speak 6 languages, 4 of them fluently.
Mhm.
But that's
Wow.
mainly because I am personally interested in them. I can play very well, professional level, 4 musical instruments: the
Okay.
piano, the
Okay.
bass, the drums, and percussion. And I'm totally self-taught. And there again, that's because I've been curious to learn those instruments. The
Wow.
passion helped me obviously to sustain that. And anything else, I'm currently learning about finance. About a year ago, I started that. and I realized there were so many things I did not know
Mm.
and that I wish I knew from a young age. If I knew these things, I would probably be a millionaire today without any doubt. And these things, those little things that I am learning, I share them with my students because I would have wanted my teachers to share them with them had they known that themselves.
Got you, got
So,
you. No, well, congratulations. Very impressive to be self-taught and the different instruments and languages that you know. I mean, that's again, that speaks to your commitment to wanting to learn and learn more
yes.
about these things, which is incredibly awesome. And I think that helps you. Like if I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if you
Mm,
are a good learner, you can be a great. That makes you for a great teacher, right? If you have the
yeah.
ability to learn, you have the ability to teach as well because
To
you're
teach,
able to
yeah.
understanding from that person's perspective.
That's it. That's it. You've said it. You said
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah,
perfectly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Uh,
and and
yeah,
that's my main goal. Whenever I'm teaching, I'm in a classroom, I always picture myself in the place of the students that I'm teaching who are looking at me. I uh, transfer my soul onto the body, looking back at myself. What would I like me to be doing in that lesson? How would I want me to approach this concept of grammar or of lesson um, in a way that I would be engaged enough
got you.
to learn? And
Uh,
yeah,
you mentioned earlier that you've gone through four different education systems, right? Is that what you said?
uh,
Four?
three,
Three different education systems. Wow.
yeah.
Um, I'd love to get a sense of the differences, or how different are they, or how close are they?
The Haitian one is the most different
Okay.
one too. So the Haitian school system, I found it extremely strict and ineffective for young learners. Why am I saying that? Um, I learned learned, that's a big word. That's the wrong word, but that's the one I'm going to use. I learned a lot about history. Let's say I'm gonna take one example. In the history, the Haitian history book, the very first line or paragraph is Christopher Columbus. I would say in French because it is in French, and then I will explain.
Yeah.
Christophe Colomb découvrit Haïti le 5
Okay.
décembre 1492. So literally translated as Christopher Columbus discovered Haiti on 5th of, yeah. But we were never explained what that meant by our teachers. The word découvrir, which in Creole, Haitian Creole, means to discover, like to remove the lid
Okay.
or something. So that's how I understood it as a kid. And I was thinking, wait, is Haiti like cooking in a saucepan? And for many years, that's the way me and many people
Right.
understood that. But our teachers never explained it to us. Most of the time, most of them did not even understand those things. So
Right.
we were doing a lot of rote learning without understanding what we were learning.
Mm.
Although the official language of Haiti was French. I say was because now they've added Haitian Creole as well
Yeah.
as part of it, but it was only French. So all the school manuals were printed in French language. However, outside the classroom, we only speak Haitian Creole.
Gotcha.
At home, likewise. So that French, that so-called official language, only 10% of the population could speak it and understand it. So for me, that was the biggest flaw in that system is that the language that is used to teach the generations were the wrong language. They were not the mother tongue. and that limited the learning process a lot. Huge handicap there. So now moving to France, and that was the opposite. There were too lax.
Okay.
Yes, with the student, and to the point that when I moved to France, I was in my first year of secondary school, so middle school, and I realized that teachers were not giving detention, they were not punishing any students. So I ended up drawing in lessons a lot because that's what my best friends at the time were doing as well, without any consequences. And besides what they were learning, I had already learned in primary school in Haiti. So that's the good thing about
Gotcha.
the
You're a
Haitian
little bit
one.
ahead.
Yes. So I did not have any sense of falling behind, but gradually, I started falling behind to the point that by the end of the second year of middle school, I almost repeated the year because I did not have the minimum level to move up. But luckily, I managed to do that, and here I am today. Now, the English system, there's a lot that I like in it. The creativity, the amount of creativity that we teachers are permitted to use in our lesson is far beyond what teachers are allowed to use in their lessons in France. In Haiti, I don't even mention that because I had not seen any sign of creativity there, at least at the time. I don't know about now, but I don't think things have changed that much. And by creativity, I mean, I can use, and I do use things like drama. I write skit for my students to perform in the language that I teach them, be it Spanish or French. And I use music. I've got my guitar next to my desk. So when we're doing a listening activity, instead of playing the recording for them to listen and write answers down, I would sing the script, just make up a song on the spot with the script, and that grabs them straight away. So and I can adapt it live to any student just by repeating the line more than once or slowing it down. And by looking at the students, slowing it down, and then it start writing. Okay, so that means they get it. So I can move on to the next verse, and so on. So yeah, I would say that's these are the main differences.
Sure. That last example of the singing, I think it really speaks to how important creativity is in the process of learning, and the more creative that we can be, the easier, or I mean, it's definitely more fun. That's for sure, right?
Yeah,
But it's easier to retain and learn information, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And by fun, nowadays there is a tendency to make everything fun for the learners, for the students. By fun, they often mean playing games. For me, the excess of playing games, of making everything a game as such, is not always productive.
Okay.
So there is a certain balance one needs to have in the way we use it, because the kids will get bored of it, especially nowadays. They have such a short attention span. So rather than making a game out of everything, you can make everything fun. And for example, I'm just gonna take a random example. Learning, let's say the verb aller, which means to go. So je vais, tu vas, il va, elle va. So You could change that into sing. Je vais, tu vas, il va, elle va, nous allons, vous allez. Ils vont, elles vont. They all recognize that tune. Oh, that's
Sure.
the Pink Panther tune. And
Sure.
then they will sing along. And that's it. It's not a game as such, but it's a fun
Yes.
way for
Yep.
them to learn
Yep.
it, and you get them engaged and
Well,
more
and those are
willing.
things that stay with you too, right?
Exactly. I did call I did catch one of my students who, and that student is in her final year of high school, so ready to go to uni, and she could not remember, I mean, spontaneously, the new form, how to say we go. So I saw her and she was saying, je vais, tu vas, il va, elle va, nous allons. Oh, nous allons. And that's something I told her 7 years earlier.
That's it. I love it. That's
I was
amazing.
amazing.
I love it. That's
And
so much
yeah,
fun.
and pleased
That was
that,
just so rewarding to
yes,
see that for you. It must be so good working about
yeah.
that. That's amazing. Um, I want to talk about in environments and learning environments specifically because when you are in a room of people and you're all learning something for the first time, um, there could be a fear of maybe asking a question because you don't know something, or that how you might be viewed or perceived by others because you got something wrong and
Yeah.
you did it publicly. How important is the environments that we set up for learning?
I'm so glad you asked that question because I have a way of doing it, which is if I suspect there is a word that I have said or that I have written on the board that someone doesn't understand, I will ask, is there anyone who does not understand what this word means? Put your hands up. And maybe if I have 2, 3, 4 hands up, said, okay, you guys, you don't know? Yeah? Okay, thank you for putting your hand up. So that means the rest of you, you know what it is. So that means I can pick any of you to explain to me what that word means. And if you can't, you're in trouble with me. So I'm gonna give you another chance. Is there anyone who doesn't know what this? All the hands are coming up at once. And then so I pause and explain to them the importance of asking questions, of
Yes.
to know, to ask for explanation if you do not understand a concept, a word, or whatever it is. Because by not putting your hand up, you think that if you don't put your hand up, you think that if you put your hand up, the rest of the class would think that, oh, you're stupid. That's why you don't know the meaning of them. But by not putting your head up, and then we carry on with the lesson, further down the line, you will not follow what's going on
Right.
because of that misunderstanding, because of that lack of knowledge of
Yeah.
that word. And
Yeah.
therefore, that's when you will look stupid. So you see, so go for it, put your head up, and I want you to feel comfortable to ask me anything you don't understand. No one knows everything. I don't
Right.
know everything.
Right.
There are
Right.
many words I don't know. And when I don't, I look them up or I ask someone if I suspect that person might know.
Well,
And then I
yeah.
know.
Well, and it takes, yeah, again, this
Mm,
podcast, we talk about being audacious. So it takes a certain level of audaciousness to actually put your hand up and
mm.
say, I don't know, in face of
Yeah,
what people might think about you, how you might
yeah,
be perceived, or how you looked, to stand up and go, well, I don't know. You're taking a bit of a risk. And
yeah,
there are people that might be afraid. And so that's why I really want to talk about environments and how important that
mm,
it's conducive for learning. Conducive meaning that it's okay to ask questions. It's
yeah,
okay to say you don't know. It's okay to take risks, and it's okay to give the wrong answers.
absolutely. Wrong answers. I say it to my class, but repeatedly, in my lessons, I want you to fail. And look, so, what are you saying? Yes, I want you to fail. It's not good. So you're evil. And I said, okay, why do I want you to fail? And then pause. They start thinking because when they said spontaneously, "Oh, sir, you're evil. That's wrong." They were not thinking. That was the spontaneous answer that came out of them. But then once I asked them, why do you think I am saying that I want you to fail? And they started thinking about it. Because you want us to learn from our mistakes. There you go.
There we go. Yep. And,
And
and
then,
learning from your mistakes is a good thing,
yes,
right? It's
yeah,
not a bad thing
yeah,
to learn from mistakes. So I get it. I
yeah.
get it.
And I
I
said,
love, I love, yeah.
I said, I want you to make lots of mistakes in my lesson so that you will not make those mistakes in your exams or elsewhere.
Yeah. So learn it here now because this is the place to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
Got you. I wonder if you could sort of talk a bit, Renes, about just we've been sort of talking about sort of the positive aspects of learning and education and the teaching. But there are challenges that young people face today, particularly more so than ever before, I would say. I mean, I think of what, what the some of the things that are on the plates of young people today is certainly not what I experience. And I
Mm.
don't, I think kids or children today are far more resilient than when I was growing up. And so I'm just curious if you can sort of, but from your perspective, what are you seeing and what sort of challenges that they're running into and what kind of ways can we help and support them?
Um, in terms of resilience, for me, I don't see them more resilient. Yeah, I find
Yeah.
them far less resilient than in my generation or in previous
Yeah.
generation, uh, because they tend to be spoon-fed and to be given everything that they need.
Okay.
They are overprotected. And I'm not saying protected, but overprotected. And we know that anything that is overdone is by default not positive.
Gotcha.
And at the same time, the expectation that the system has placed upon them is high.
Gotcha.
And that creates a disparity between the expectations and the own achievement.
Hmm.
Achievement, not abilities. They can, but because the expectations are so high and the the teaching profession has been suffering with lack of support, be it financial or resource, and over the decades, I would say. So all this creates a handicap to the learning of those students. And also I think that the increase of screens in the lessons is is not positively used. It's abused. I'll say it's a good thing to have that as a tool, but the overuse of it is it does hinder, in my opinion, the progress that the students could make, because they expect everything to be from
Mm.
screen.
Mm.
Oh, can we play at this on such and such website? No, me personally, I hardly use those platforms
Gotcha.
to in my teaching. And when I do so, it's like a treat for them, and they enjoy it, they appreciate it because it's not overdone. And when I do it, it's because I've planned carefully for them to learn something while playing.
Gotcha.
And
Understood. Understood. Yeah.
so there's always that gaming element and fun
Hmm.
element
The fun. Yeah.
in it. So yes,
Makes sense. Makes
the
sense.
smallest, yeah.
And I guess where I was going when I was talking about the resilience today now and then,
Mm.
and I thank you for making that point. I guess I was more so looking at the challenges. The world. It's not as safe. It doesn't feel as safe,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Then versus now.
Yeah,
We as a kid, I was just carefree and not worried about
yeah,
the things that
yes,
are out there
okay,
now. And
yes,
so
I
that's kind
agree.
of where I was coming from.
Hmm.
But I know that doesn't take away from your point because I think that's also quite valid as well.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I agree with that. Yeah.
yeah. You've got a book, right? I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the book and yeah, what you intend to do with it.
Uh, what I intend to do, like,
Well,
well,
the intention was I meant when writing the
yeah,
book is kind of what I meant. Yeah, and that's the problem. Yeah, the
I
intention.
know. My intention is to raise awareness of what has been happening in the education system worldwide for the past 2 decades, and more. I focused more on the past 2 decades because when um, that's how long I have been in the profession. But the studies, the researches that I made to write that book cover a longer period than that. It's to um, encourage educators, parents, um, to not to lose faith in the learning, in the education. I said education, not the education system, but
Hmm.
in education as such. Um, I also explained how I have been teaching, um, which has helped me to enjoy teaching today,
Okay.
despite all the hurdles that I had to overcome um, over time, and hopefully new teachers and current colleagues can find insights and examples that they can use in their own classroom by
Gotcha.
tweaking things to match their own personalities, because everything that I mentioned um, in that book have been that have worked for me would not necessarily work for someone else, because
Gotcha.
you need the personality to match that as well.
Gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
there is always room to tweak things. In the second part of the book,
Hmm.
it's an analytical critic of the education system, where I um, pinpoint all the problems, or at least the
Okay.
main problems that I have identified in the system. But for each of them, I also offer 2 or 3 possible solutions. Um, and for example, I use the Finnish education system as
Okay.
my main model. Why? Because over there, there is no exam, no standardized test, which is
Okay.
for me the biggest failure, I would say, of the systems, because we are so different. The kids are so different. We
Yes.
are being forced to differentiate our lessons in the classroom, to suit every
Right. Right.
student's learning. And yet, when it comes to the exam, it's all standardized. They have to sit the same exam within the same time
Yep. Yep.
frame.
Yep.
And so what's the point of um differentiating in the classroom?
Yeah. Right.
It's like a waste of time. So either they differentiate as well in the standardized test, but
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
which case it will no longer be called standardized test,
Right. So standardized.
and or or we don't bother differentiating at all, and which obviously would not work at all. So the issue is the test, the standardized tests that need to change, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
yeah,
And the recognition of individual learnings, and we can talk about learning styles and how
yeah.
people absorb and process information. All these things are important aspects
Mhm.
to bear in mind. The name of the book again is, what's the name of your book is?
I still love teaching despite having all the reasons in the world to quit. Maybe it says it all.
It does. It does. It
So
does.
yeah, and if I still love teaching, it's thanks to my colleagues, to the
Yes.
colleagues
Yes.
that I've had over time, and the students. who have given me the joy of learning and therefore of teaching.
Gotcha.
And also my family outside of that,
Sure.
and friends. So yeah, I hope I will be able to sustain that love
Yes, well,
for
I can certainly
teaching.
hear the passion and love as you talk about teaching and the joy for it and your excitement. I think those are all wonderful things. And congratulations on the wonderful career and all the work that you've done. And thank you for being a guest today on the Audacious Living podcast.
It's a real pleasure, Audley. It's pleasure to talk about
Yeah,
teaching, about the learning and the students, because
yeah.
that really make me happy. I do so.
And again,
Thank
learning
you
is
again.
such a key element, important
Mm,
aspect of
yeah,
life. And any major successes is something that just has to be learned. We don't get up and know things. We have to learn, and whether that be by someone such as yourself teaching or our own
mm,
experiences. But we have to have
yeah,
the ability to learn, to critically look at things, to analyze them, and then take from that to apply to our own lives. And so,
yeah.
thank you. For listeners that want to connect with you directly, where can we send them?
They can find me on the Instagram, Facebook. So by typing my name on Google, Renes Lophenol,
Sure.
and you'll find it, or my website, reneslophenol.com,
Awesome.
and Amazon and everywhere. Yeah.
Great. This has been
So
fantastic. Renes, thank you so much for this and all the
a
best, my friend.
pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Back, we are here on the podcast. During our conversation, Renes emphasized curiosity is the key to unlocking a deeper engagement with the learning. He illustrated how forming personal connections with students not only fosters an environment conducive to learning, but also encourages them to take risks and ask questions. Most notably, he advocated for the idea that making mistakes is not just acceptable, but necessary for overall growth. I truly loved this perspective. It's certainly refreshing and a great reminder that our educational journeys are filled with opportunities to learn, adapt, and thrive. Renes's approach invites both students and teachers to embrace imperfection, seeing every stumble as a chance to learn and evolve. I encourage you to connect with Renes directly. You can find him on Instagram and Facebook by searching for his name, Renes Lophenol, or visiting his website at reneslophenol.com. I certainly don't miss out on this opportunity to engage with his work and gain further insights into effective teaching, learning strategies. Additionally, his book, it's called I Still Love Teaching Despite Having All the Reasons in the World to Quit, which offers valuable insights for both educators and parents. I highly recommend checking that out as well. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for tuning into another edition of the Audacious Living podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to like, follow, subscribe, or share if you haven't already done so. Your support helps us to continue and grow and reach even more listeners who are eager to live their best audacious life. Until next time, keep embracing curiosity, building connections, and learning from your mistakes. Stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stephenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.